Karen claimed my dock was public, court ruled it's private, and ordered her to pay for repairs. Have you ever had a neighbor who thought they could claim your property as their own? No questions asked? On a quiet lakeside in Michigan, where the water sparkled under the summer sun and families gathered to make memories, my world was turned upside down by Karen, a newcomer with a sense of entitlement bigger than the lake itself. She stormed into our peaceful retreat, declaring my family's private dock, a cherished piece of our lakefront home, was public property for her personal use. What followed was a battle of wills, a clash of rights, and a reckoning that left her stunned and our community forever changed. It all began when Karen moved into the sleek new house up the hill, her modern glass windows glinting like her sharp attitude. My family's cabin, a rustic haven built by my grandparents, sat proudly by the lake with our dock extending into the what-era place where my kids learned to fish and my wife and I shared countless sunsets. The deed was clear. The dock was ours, part of the property we'd owned for decades. But Karen didn't care about deeds or history. Within weeks of her arrival, she was tying her shiny new jet ski to our dock, hosting loud parties, and treating it like her personal marina. When I politely asked her to stop, she scoffed, her voice dripping with condescension. "This dock's on public water," she declared, arms crossed. "It's for everyone. You don't own the lake." Her words lit a fuse in me, but I kept my cool, thinking a conversation could settle things. I was wrong. Karen's audacity grew bolder. She started inviting friends to her dock, their music blaring across the lake, their boats scraping the wood my father had painstakingly varnished every spring. One evening, I found her teenage son and his friends jumping off the dock, leaving beer cans and chips scattered across it. When I confronted her, she laughed, saying, "Lighten up, it's just a dock." But the final straw came when her jet ski, poorly tied, slammed into the dock during a storm, splintering 2 planks and bending the metal railing. The repair estimate? $8,000. I sent her a letter, calmly explaining the damage and asking her to cover the costs since her negligence caused it. Her response was a venomous email. "Sue me if you dare. That dock's public, and I'm not paying a dime." The truth was on my side, but Karen's confidence shook me. I dug into our property records, confirming the dock was entirely within our deeded boundaries, a fact backed by a 1993 survey. Michigan law was clear. Riparian rights meant the dock, built on our lakefront property, was private, and we had exclusive control over it. I even checked with the local HOA, which had no jurisdiction over our private canal, and they confirmed our sole ownership. Armed with this, I approached Karen one last time, showing her the documents. She didn't even glance at them. "You're just a greedy old man trying to hoard the lake," she snapped, her eyes blazing. "I'll see you in court." Her defiance left me no choice. I hired a lawyer, a seasoned local named Tom who'd seen his share of neighbor disputes, and we filed a lawsuit for property damage and trespass. The courtroom was a small, wood-paneled room in the county courthouse, the air thick with tension. Karen strutted in, her Loyera Slick City type carrying a briefcase that probably cost more than my dock. She argued the dock was public because it extended into the lake, citing some vague notion of public waterway access. Her lawyer even tried to spin a story about how my family had historically allowed neighbors to use the dock, implying we'd surrendered our rights. I could feel my blood pressure rising as she painted herself as the victim, claiming I was bullying her, a poor single mom just trying to enjoy her new home. The twist came when Tom called an unexpected witness. Mrs. Ellison, an 80-year-old neighbor who'd lived on the lake since the 1960s. Her frail voice carried surprising weight as she recounted how my grandparents had built the dock themselves, how it was always private, and how no one, not even the friendliest neighbors, used it without permission. Karen's jaw tightened, her confidence cracking as Mrs. Ellison's testimony dismantled her narrative. The confrontation reached its peak when Tom presented our evidence: the deed, the survey, and photos of the damage caused by Karen's jet ski. The judge, a no-nonsense woman with a reputation for fairness, leaned forward, her eyes narrowing as she questioned Karen's lawyer. "Where's your proof this dock is public?" she asked. Karen's lawyer stammered, producing only a generic state guideline about public waterways that didn't apply to private docks. Tom countered with a case precedent, Scott v. The London and St. Catherine Docks Company, 1865. Invoking the principle of residential ipsa loquitur, damage spoke for itself, since Karen's jet ski was under her control when it crashed into our dock. The judge nodded, her expression unreadable but clearly unimpressed with Karen's flimsy defense. I caught Karen's eye, expecting defiance, but saw a flicker of doubt. She was starting to realize she might lose. Karen's world came crashing down when the judge delivered her ruling. "The dock is unequivocally private property," she declared, citing our deed and the lack of any public easement. She found Karen liable for the $8,000 in damages, plus $2,000 in legal fees, and issued an injunction barring her from using or approaching our dock again. Karen's face went pale, her hands gripping the table as the reality sank in. Her lawyer whispered something, but she waved him off, her bravado replaced by stunned silence. The courtroom buzzed as neighbors in the gallery whispered, some nodding in approval, others shocked at the outcome. Mrs. Ellison gave me a small, triumphant smile as she left, her cane tapping softly on the floor. For me, it wasn't just about the money, it was about reclaiming our peace, our sanctuary, from someone who thought she could bully her way into our lives. The aftermath was bittersweet but inspiring. The dock was repaired, its fresh planks gleaming under a new coat of varnish, and our family returned to our quiet evenings by the lake. Karen, humiliated, put her house up for sale within months, unable to face the community she'd alienated. Word spread, and neighbors rallied around us, some even bringing homemade pies as a gesture of support. The experience taught me the power of standing firm, backed by truth and community. It wasn't just a victory over one entitled neighbor, it was a reminder that our homes, our havens, are worth fighting for. When the law and the facts are on your side, even the loudest Karen can't drown out justice. So what do you think? Was Karen's boldness a misguided mistake, or did she deserve the court's harsh lesson? Share your thoughts. Have you ever faced a neighbor like this? And how did you handle it?